is the only thing that is constant. Change comes with time. And of course, age is a measurement of time. Nigeria is 57. The age 57 is classified as an age of adulthood. If you're a civil servant in Nigeria, at the age of 57, you're 3 years away from retirement. At age 57, a man is expected to have seen his pains, measured his gains, and of course, come to compromise with a level of accomplishment. Nigeria celebrated her 57th independence anniversary on the 1st of October, and it got everyone talking. 57 years of nationhood. Has the country come of age? Well, this is what we'll be debating on the show today. My name is Femi Akonde, and you're watching The Big Issue. Welcome back. Again, we ask, at 57, has Nigeria come of age? We have two analysts and social commentators to do justice to this debate today. Great Imo Jonathan. Help me welcome Great Imo Jonathan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Take that corner. Great Imo Jonathan is a PR and business development consultant. He's a social commentator who has written a number of articles on the state of the nation, one of which is the popular article, To Nigerians, and what next after the protest. He's here to tell us that at 57, Nigeria has come of age. Good to have you here, Mr. Jonathan.
My pleasure.
Well, I also have Tosin Akonde. Welcome him. You're welcome, sir. Let's take that corner. Welcome. All right. Tosin is a public affairs analyst. He's also a campaigner for the rights of the old and the young. He's a writer. He has written quite a number of articles also on the state of the nation. But today on the show, he says Nigeria is still a child in man's clothing. Good to have you here, Tosin.
Thank you.
Welcome him. You feel Nigeria is still toddling at 57?
Yeah.
Why do you say so?
That's all right. First and foremost, I want to thank again the producers of this great program, because by this program, through this platform, you are contributing accurately and excellently well to the intellectual development of Nigerians, and so for which reason we all are proud of The Big Issue.
True.
Has Nigeria come of age? I thought and came up with a concept. What does it really mean to say someone has come of age? Is age a necessary factor in determining the true worth of an individual? In this case, the true worth of a nation. In this case, specifically saying the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Is age perhaps even the surest and the finest methodology of determining what we are talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home, I'm here to convince you, to make you realize that taking up responsibilities on the one hand and executing it successfully very well are the hallmarks of determining what makes the worth of a true man or a true nation. That is one. At this point, permit me to distinguish what kind of Nigeria are we even talking about? Are we talking about just Nigeria? Are we talking about the Nigerian Federation? Are we talking about the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I'll distinguish. One, Nigeria, January 1st, 1914, it came about. It's not the same as the Nigerian Federation that we got on the 1st of January, on the 1st of October, 1960. And that in itself is quite different from the Nigeria we got, the Federal Republic. We became a republic on the 1st of October, 1963. There are three different things entirely. So which Nigeria are you even talking about? But by extension, thank you, I have decided to put all the three categories of Nigeria together because they are under one concept, that is government.
Yeah.
And now, constitutionally speaking, Section 14, subsection 2, paragraph B of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic, as amended, says clearly that, I'll quote, it says, the primary purpose of government shall be the security and the welfare of the people.
I forgot to tell you that Tosin Akonde is also a lawyer.
So if that be the case, our Constitution has given us a signpost of what constitutes the basic concern of every government. Now, the poser I'll put is indeed, like you have said, I'm rephrasing you, has this country come of age? I issue a caveat before I go on. It's not my duty, it's not in my place to answer. The people
should answer.
The people would answer.
All right, Tosin.
Now I'll go on in my presentation. It's all right.
Great Jonathan Imo. From what Nigeria is saying, doing, and from what, of course, others are saying about Nigeria, do you think all these are pointers to the fact that Nigeria has come of age?
Well, thank you, viewers and audience. I'm grateful to be here today to discuss Nigeria, my beautiful country. I want to approach this debate from the perspective of there are two characters in the world. Those who see things from the positive and those who see things from the negative. Your cup is either half full or half empty. And today, concerning Nigeria, I want to discuss it from the perspective that our cup is half full. And I want you to appreciate that first and foremost. Now, taking it from there, I want to say that Nigeria of today have indeed come of age compared to where we started. We're actually celebrating Nigeria at 57. That is to say, our trajectory began in 1960. True. So whatever happened prior to that point is not a point for discourse today. Because at that time, we were not in charge, we were not in government, we were not in control of our affairs. We're discussing Nigeria from the perspective of when we took charge of our own affairs. Have we done well? And I also want to warn, yes, even in giving in comparative analogy, there are human beings who are 55 today, who are 57, who are 100, who have not done well, actually, for various reasons, for various circumstances. But that analogy may not exactly fit because, number one, as much as a nation is organic, but is regenerative, in that circumstance, looking at our own circumstances and peculiarities, we can say Nigeria have come of age, but despite our challenges and the things left to be done. So, and the points I will be giving hereafter will convince you whether we have come of age. We may not be where we need to be, but I can tell you we have achieved tremendous progress. That is where I'm here to discuss. Thank you very much.
Tremendous progress. Now, that adjective, tremendous, wouldn't you use it advisedly?
Well, I will definitely want to use it confidently because most often than not, when we discuss Nigeria, one of the challenges we have is that we tend to discuss Nigeria in comparison with other countries that are making progress. Yes, there are countries that we started about the same time, but their peculiarities, their own challenges are not the same as ours. And some of the reasons I want to tell you is, number one, between 1957, I want to give you one of these examples. In 1960, for example, if you check out most of the schools that our fathers attended, the teachers were white men. We had no professors, we had no lecturers. How many universities do we have? But today I can tell you, all of our teachers today are Nigerians. Most of them are not just grade 8 teachers, people who qualify from trade tests, people who qualify from NC. We have professors today. We have doctors, we have PhD holders, we have all of those things within a period of 57 years. We have governed ourselves in education. Not only have we governed ourselves in education, I also want you to take note. If you go to countries of the world, most time when you discuss Nigeria, the world wants to see us from the perspective of people who are taking aids. We are giving aids even to the world in terms of education. Go to America today. Some of the best professors in American university, even in Harvard, are Nigerians between 1957 and now. And I also want to tell you, in that same America today, over 21,000 medics are Nigerians. And I don't know many of the hospitals in Nigeria where there are white doctors. Between 1960 and now, we have given America 21,000 doctors. That is an achievement.
All right, let me give Tosin an opportunity to respond. He's been pacing around. Tosin.
Okay. All right.
Tosin.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, well, I listened to him with rapt attention.
Yeah, you've seen his yardstick for determining that Nigeria at 57 has come of age.
Well, my very first take is on what you said, and I wrote it down. I quoted you. He said, we may not be where we need to be, but we have definitely come of age.
Your words.
That in literature in English, as a figure of speech, It's ironical. That's a serious irony. When you say you are not where you ought to be, but self-consolation comes in to say we are definitely come of age. That's a no-no. I wouldn't take that pointedly. I pointed it out. Number 2 factor, education. See, in this concept, we should be able to clearly articulate our views. Here we are talking about Nigeria, specifically as a republic. We are not talking about Nigerians. If you have said, have Nigerians come of age, I would probably have bowed my face in shame to say I wouldn't rather stand here to discuss that because we are beautiful people. We are not talking about Nigerians as my friend is postulating. We are talking about the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's one. Then secondly, saying that the whites have not been around and you are counting that as a gain. Well, would they count it as a gain that Nigerians are no longer around? At 57, you well qualify to be described as a grandpa. And therefore, as from today, I enjoin fellow Nigerians, beginning from this lovely hall and auditorium, no longer would you join them in saying fatherland. Maybe by the time we start saying grandfatherland, Nigeria and the government of this country will step up. We do not hate our leaders. No. I wouldn't want Abuja to watch this and start feeling unnecessarily agitated or concerned because most of our leadership hate fair criticism. Noted. But I am not here. Thank you. I am not here to bring them low, to reduce them, or to discredit them. They are trying, but definitely truth must be told. They have not. We haven't come of age. In fact, as a matter of fact.
So what exactly would make us come of age, make the country,
beautiful.
Or what should be in place for you to say, yes, this country has come of age?
One of the first things I think we have to do, we need a cultural one and a moral reawakening. It is not enough to look forward to economic, reawakening, to look at economic recovery. If you concentrate only on the monetary aspect of the human being, then you are of all men most to be pitied. Because you have to look at so many other dimensions. There is not just one side of the mankind we're talking about. We're talking about his moral. We're talking about his cultural. We're talking about his orientation. People have come forward to say Nigeria needs restructuring. I dare come out to say it's because the economic aspect of the thing, because the moral aspect of the thing, the cultural dimension to the thing is not complete yet. That's why when I'm referring to the person who mooted this idea of restructuring, when he was in power, why couldn't he restructure? Okay, so the thing we need is reorientation. We need to sit down and understand our values. I take my children to school every day before I go to work. And every day I bleed for this country in tears. Okada riders, Mawa riders, all sorts of people have no regard for young people. That's one index you have to look at to know a country that has indeed come of age. If you are a grandfather or a grandmother, you don't seek to kill your child or your grandchild. You seek to protect him. You seek to protect her. If you can't build a house, it's an issue I'm most passionate about. If you cannot build a home at 57, you should have a rented apartment. It's like, to me, Nigeria is homeless because there's nothing, just nothing that seems to work. And we need to tell them, politely though, Abuja, we need to get things up. Let's step up.
All right then. Great Imo.
Yes.
Tosin Akande has just painted a picture and it's not too good. He said the country needs cultural reawakening, moral reawakening, national reawakening, and what have you. But you believe that, yes, despite all these points he's been able to articulate, that you can boldly again say that at 57, we aren't doing bad.
Okay, let me start by making reference to the use of the word whether reawakening for whatever purpose. The word means there has been a process. He acknowledged there is a process of growth that you need to fine-tune. And that is where I've said that we are looking at it from the perspective of the cup being half full. Number two, I also want to fault this analogy of saying Nigeria is not an artificial description. You must know this. Anytime Nigeria is derogated, you as an individual have been derogated. The yardstick by which you measure Nigeria's progress is the yardstick by the individuals' progress, the individuals who constitute the nation called Nigeria, because it is not a mere geographic description. It is the individuals that populate the geography that are referred to as Nigerian. Without you, you will just be as good as Sambisa Forest.
That's not
Today.
true. That's not true.
Sorry, sir.
That's not true.
And I also want to say, as much as it's nice to use those descriptions to say you can say Nigeria is a grandfatherland, when you go to countries like Ghana, they don't say fatherland, they say motherland. So it's very inconsequential in discussing this positioning here.
The Ghanaian society is not the same as here.
Sorry, sir. A society is like I said, is generative, and society evolves. And you evolve as everything around you evolves globally, and all of those things can affect you today. As much as we talk about insecurity in Nigeria, 50 people were just murdered in America yesterday. Terrorism has become a global circumstance. They were not cultures that are peculiar to us. They are cultures that we have just come to meet, because as the world evolves, things begin to happen that we are strange to you. And we confront them, we begin to evolve strategies and plans on how we can overcome them. And let me also say to you, when I talk about Nigeria have come of age using this terrorism index, the terrorism in Saudi Arabia, in Iraq, in Syria and all of those things required even a whole global community to fight them. But in Nigeria, we have been able to decimate Boko Haram, and we have cornered them to the fringes. And without the help of the international community, as it were, Nigerian army and security forces achieved that. And that is to tell you that Nigeria has come of age. And furthermore, let me also say to you this, whether we like it or not, we have been instrumental in stabilizing the world. In terms of democracy, when Liberia went volatile, everywhere was on fire. The whole world was looking. And Liberia was one of the countries that were colonized by America. They didn't take America or any of those known world powers to do that. It took Nigeria's resources to achieve peace in Liberia. It took Nigeria's resources to achieve peace in Sierra Leone. It took Nigeria's resources to achieve peace in Congo. It took Nigeria's resources to achieve peace in Sudan. It took Nigeria's resources to achieve peace in Mali. Nigeria is also doing the same in Somalia. Brother, we have played major roles in keeping the world peace. We have understood this culture of violence even from our own perspective and from the global perspective. And to the extent that we have this capacity to defend other nations and to defend our own territorial integrity, we have come of age.
All right.
We don't require other people to come and help us defend it.
Well, it's really an interesting debate. Great Imo and Tosin Akonde. Well, at this point, we'll go on a quick break. And when we return, it will be time for the Fire for Fire segment. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back. This is the Fire for Fire segment. Well, gentlemen, in this segment, you're free to ask each other questions, interject, puncture each other's argument. It's free for all, for both of you. But we don't get physical. We won't allow you to throw punches. And you're gentlemen, of course. Okay, so the ball is in your court. Fire
okay,
for
I'll
fire.
take the first salvo. When you talked about the Ghanaian dimension to this, I tried to rephrase it by telling you that the citizenship in Ghana is tied to their mothers. And hence, they can say motherland. But in Nigeria, citizenship is tied to our fathers. Hence, we say fatherland. And I said a while ago that it's no longer apt to say fatherland. By the time we start saying grandfatherland, those in authorities will begin to realize that we need so much of wisdom. I was also talking about the three things that you use to assess characters in any work of art. I was saying I need to remind you, first, what the person is saying about himself or herself, what others are saying about him, and what that person is doing. Now, take it up from that analogy, and let's look in the three issues I put on the front burner. How has Nigeria fared in the Committee of Nations? What have we been talking about ourselves? Flash through our headlines. You don't need to visit Nigeria to know what is happening. And neither do you need to visit Europe or America to exactly know what is happening. Just watch the news.
Great Imo, silence means consent.
You have
no, he's talking, he's not asking me questions.
Fire for fire. You have
I'm taking.
I don't need to.
No, I was want to see. I'm going to have some cross of fire, but I'm going to make it decent. That is why I'm actually expecting you to have asked me a question.
I'm expecting.
I want the audience and the viewers to gain from this discussion.
As I was saying.
Now, let me say this.
Sorry, please.
You have just said.
Hold on.
I know why. I don't want to make. I want to make it decent. I want to make it decent. No, I know what it's saying. I want to make it decent.
Okay, hold on. Both of you, hold on.
I want to make it decent.
I'm not on either side here.
Yes.
You are.
Yeah,
and I said I want to make it decent.
Accused you that
do you know why? Because we don't have all the time.
Okay, great Igbo.
We can't shout at each other.
Of course,
so
one is very correct. We cannot shout at each other. Let us listen to Tosin Akonde.
Thank you.
So, Tosin, are you happy?
Tosin,
I'm happy now.
Tosin, you have repeated what you have said before. I wanted you to throw a question so that I can take it from you.
Okay,
the first question you asked, let me answer it.
No, hold on. Let him kill it.
Let him kill it. Go ahead.
Now, as I was saying, what is Nigeria saying about herself? From our news packages, that is left for those who are consuming the news to determine, not for me. Now, what are other countries saying about us? I'm sure a lot of you have seen so much videos that have gone viral about Nigeria, laughable things, and you say we have come of age. If indeed we have come of age, we will have our regard and our self-esteem, self-respect, because that is the basic idea behind the UN. Look at the last UN General Assembly. Did you hear Trump? He was telling them it's a serious issue. He said, make your people your priority. America has made her people her priority. So America reminds me of the proverbial echo in Yoruba adage.
Please, you are going on and on. If you respect the view without making it, if you don't want to make it indecent, you want to listen first. First and foremost, when you talked about the Ghanaian, using the Ghana, the mother and the father analogy, I told you that it's just ephemeral. It does not come into discourse here.
It's not ephemeral.
And let me explain this to you. What people think about us, the Committee of Nations,
it's not ephemeral.
In the Committee of Nations, they see Nigeria as a partner.
It's not ephemeral.
They see Nigeria as a contributor. They see Nigeria as people who have capacity to make tremendous, even in the whole of Africa, decisions are not taken without taking cognizance of the Nigerians' view.
Says who?
In the global community, decisions are not taken. When Haiti
was invited, good luck.
Even the current chief of army staff
he
headed the UN army when they were going on peace mission. If you are not considered serious, invited. Emeka Anyaoku was Commonwealth Secretary General. If Nigeria was not serious, would it have been considered? Today, I'm telling you, as we stand here today, even in the last UN General Assembly, even President Buhari was held as Africa's president and not Nigeria's president.
Says
that is how
again.
seriously the world sees Nigeria. It was an analogy in the international media. And how we see ourselves as people who have come of age, who have contributed, and who are making progress. And let me even ask my friend, when you use what they call the numerical age in comparison for in analyzing a nation, you forget there's what they call the biological age. You also have what they call the kairos. But the age in terms of circumstance. By the way, how old is Libya? Libya is in chaos today. Libya is a country of 7,000 years old. But in spite of the progress made, a circumstance in 1 minute has destroyed the country.
Not true.
The interactable nature of nations and why nations can disseminate and grow. It's lack of your understanding.
Completely running out of patience. Libya is not 7,000 years old.
In case that means you don't know the history of Libya. How old is Libya?
If you say the Egyptian civilization is 8,000, not even 7.
How old is Libya? And yet Libya is in crisis.
Be
How old is Syria?
Don't miseducate people. We have a right to teach them.
From which we read, we know how old Israel was until 60-something years ago, 50-something years ago, when they came to be another nation. What happened today before? Were they not making progress? They were making progress. That's what they call the interactable nature of human existence. It evolves, and it's an evolutionary circumstance that can determine some of those things.
Okay then. All right, maybe we should agree on some of the indices for measuring Nigeria's progress if it has truly come of age. Maybe things like national pride, foreign policy, the economy, security, cultural values, moral values, science and technology, and what have you. Based on all these indices, what would be your own argument? And I would also want to hear your argument.
Okay, I'll give you the first
My argument is that Nigeria is a growing nation. And this growing nation means, in comparison to those who by whose standard we
how
judge
long will
ourselves.
it take for Nigeria
in terms
to
of
finally
technology,
grow up?
today I want to tell you, in the oil and gas industry, in 1960, all we knew was Shell, Chevron, and the rest of them. But today, we know Uando, we know Corn Oil, we know Master Energy, we have Nest Oil, we have these guys involved in deep water exploration, we have people constructing tugboats here. Even the Nigerian army as of today is building some of its own military weapons, building tugboats, building gunboats. As I'm talking to you right now, Enosin is even collaborating to build a helicopter for the Nigerian Air Force. And those are in terms of technology. In fact, for your information, when in Nigeria, in just 7 years as a nation, in 1967 got itself involved in war, in civil war, the Biafran soldiers who created those Ogbunigwe that could travel 28 miles were Nigerians. They are not just Biafrans. They were Nigerians even at that time who have already gotten such indigenous technology involved. In fact, some of the reasons for which some of these wars were even interactable was because foreign nations were not happy that within that age, Nigeria was already bringing some such technologies to the global reckoning. So you must be careful to know that these things are already indigenous. Even today, one of the world's best computer scientists, Phyllis Emegwali, who was also a young person involved in that war in Nigeria. Today, as far back as 2005, the world's best robotic engineer who was Professor Bartolomé Naji, who is the man who designed also the roadmap for Ethiopia, what they call hydropower technology. Those are technology. Technology is not when today a young man in India is being paid, is going to be paid $1.something million. They are applauding it as what? As Indian advancement. Why don't you clap for Phyllis Emegwali, ingenious nature for computer as Nigeria's advancement? Why are we not clapping for Bartolomé Naji's ingenuity as Nigeria's advancement? All of these are Nigeria's advancement. In terms of technology, in terms of science, Nigerian Army, Biafra, and all the rest.
I clap for them. I clap for them. I clap for them, really. Now, to be very honest, this is a personal opinion. I respect it. If no other person does, I feel for you. I know.
You can only feel for yourself. Feelings are
I do not envy the task you have this afternoon at all, because even the Nigerian government will not come here and stand and tell us all the things you've told us in the past 5 or 10 minutes. So
the only question to ask, are they truth?
Now,
if they are not truth, I want you to debunk them with other facts.
I'm going to do just that.
It's only a proof that's a proof. If somebody has given you a proof and you feel it's not a proof, you counter with facts. I'm not going to listen to what a general statement as a matter of fact. Please give me facts to oppose them.
Index or the indices with which we can assess if a country has indeed come of age.
Please give us.
Foreign policy. To start with, our foreign policy is at its lowest ebb. We got to our proudest moment in foreign relations in the 1980s, then under this same General Buhari and Tunde Idiagbon. And I'll give you an instance. What international law, thankfully I majored in it, is saying, is prescriptive. It says mosaic law, an eye for an eye. Whatever is done to you or against your country, you have every legal right, internationally speaking, to retaliate. Now, the British government grounded some Nigeria Airways planes in London. Promptly, within 24 hours, Tunde Idiagbon of blessed memory grounded the British Airways. Their planes right here. In 24 hours, our planes were released from London. In terms of the economy, which is what you all want to hear. According to Professor Claude Ake, in his book, which was released in 1981, he said the Nigerian economy can at best be described as a disarticulate economy. An economy which produces what it does not consume and consumes what it does not produce is definitely bound to fail.
All right, I would like you to ask him a question, because it's been going on and on.
No,
ask him a question,
let me even puncture some of his arguments.
Okay, go ahead.
Number one, he started by narrating something that happened in 1984 or thereabout, or in the 80s, by saying that the best measure for international relations is an eye for an eye, and the planes that were grounded and Nigeria responded.
I'm not the one saying it is
hold on, bro.
in international
You never
law.
gave us other instances where such incidences happen and Nigeria did not respond accurately. Therefore, what you have just presented is half-truth and is dangerous for societal consumption.
You have lied.
You didn't mention what other Nigeria have not responded accurately. Then number two, you have just quoted a professor. You have not given us indices by measurement for which you can say these are the statistics to show today Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. Am I lying? Please. Yes. Please, if you want to know If you have your phone, Oga, which country in Africa, which economy is the biggest economy in Africa?
I understand.
Economy. Please,
I understand the place of PR stunts.
Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa.
I understand the place of PR stunts.
$500 billion. You can argue that all you like. And in Africa's 2014, Nigeria was what they call the first, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. After China and India, Nigeria was record in 2014. Go and check your indices, UN indices from Geneva. Then as far back as 2000, Nigeria was the choice destination for investment in Africa. Go and check your indices as far back as 2014. When you have not rivaled all these facts that are on the global red, you have not also made a disservice to your nation. You have made a disservice to yourself by not getting information to that instant. Then let me ask you a question. Hold on, bro. Have you any of these facts, anything to counter these facts I've mentioned?
I do.
Because we are talking to a global audience. They can check their Google wherever they are to find out if these things are said is true or not. I'm telling you. So if you have not got any of those facts, general statements and statements of PT cannot solve the problem.
Listen,
we want factual evidence before you can respond to these things. Please. Quoting a professor does not solve the problem. And let me tell you, thank God you read journalism. You read journalism. And
I read mass communication. There is a difference.
That is, you read mass communication.
Oh my God.
That is, okay, you read mass communication, whatever that means. When you read mass com, you should understand that when people write articles, they are what they call opinions. And opinions are what governed by what circumstances, events, and even feelings. And you cannot use somebody's opinion to judge a global fact. And that person's opinion, except interacts with facts that are factual and facts that are obvious. Therefore, it is not relevant. Whether it's written by a professor, written by a pastor, or not. We have made tremendous progress in so many ways, which I want to even discuss without making this.
Now, let me take it up from the realm of opinion, which you mentioned. It is a given fact. You see, I wouldn't talk without giving you facts.
What is giving fact? Giving fact is when you quote figures and you quote references. I want to hear the way you talk about facts.
Let's educate these guys.
Yeah.
It's a given fact that there's what we call opinion. There's what we call informed opinion.
Yes.
That's what we call expert opinion.
Yes.
When a professor, in the status of Professor Claude Ake, is talking, great emo. It's all right. I'll leave it there.
And the question is, I have not by any means derogated the prof in question. Listen. All I've asked you is that the statement of prof you quoted, from what factual evidences did he arrive at such statement?
That
for the fact that the prof
circles,
quoted something, does he make it truth?
Okay, that is your question.
That is the question.
Say the question
again. For the fact that a prof made a statement or said something, does he reflect truth on ground? If it does not reflect truth on ground, tell me why I should swallow it.
Necessarily, why he should swallow I'm going to answer. Necessarily, you do not have to swallow it.
Thank you.
But sometimes, in your own interest,
I should swallow it.
You have to.
That is doing a disservice to myself.
The reason is because these are people who, both by presumption and in reality, have deeper realms of knowledge, ordinarily, than you. Now, let us also look at some things that are expected of someone who indeed has come of age. When you have come of age, it's expected that you should know your priorities. You should know your right from your left.
Yeah.
We all know that nursing, for instance, and occupations in the health industrial sector are hugely rewarding in the West, in Europe, in America. But why are they not rewarding here? Because our priorities, our government priorities, are different. Over there, they place emphasis on both the mental, physical, emotional, and what other kinds of, what have you, welfare on their citizens. Yeah. Therefore, they will pay more to those in the health sector. We want them to be healthy. When you have a healthy populace, you have a robust nation. Intellect is driven. Technology will come. Economy will rise. Everything will soar. Okay, but here, but not so here. Here, the most rewarding sectors here, we all know them. Politics, maybe entertainment. And I'm sure you've all seen what went viral. There was this university in the East. I'm not going to be specific.
Yeah, sure.
There was this university in the East where it was shown they were giving the best graduating students 10,000. Please, what is it? So you all saw it? Okay. We all know where our priorities lie. Well, therefore, you have no come of age if you don't know your right. from your left.
That is what I want to appreciate. I want to appreciate. You should be curious to know why he holds tightly to this standpoint.
I don't want to know.
I ask him a question so that he will
Number one.
He will explain to you make you understand why he believes so much in his argument and holds tightly to his standpoint. I'm sorry, Tosin. I have to do this to you. Ask him a question. Ask him a question, Tosin. I'm sorry, I have to do this to you.
Let's appreciate. My brother, I want to say something. In my introductory statement, I've always given you, when you do comparative analogy, I want to say by what standard are you comparing your nation? America is a nation that is over 200 years.
True.
In terms of investment of human effort, material, and all of those, America have come of age long before Nigeria arrived as a nation. And whether you know it or not, the cumulative effect of resources and all of those mental and physical have resulted to some of these benefits you are discussing about. And it does not happen in one day. It does not happen by magic. And when you want to discuss the failure of leadership, I want to understand that. But whether you want to discuss whether Nigeria is making progress, I want to say yes, Nigeria is making progress in spite of our unfulfilled dreams and challenges. Now, I want to also resolve by telling you that even in America, the poverty rate by American standard is about 70%, not by global rate. And let me explain it to you.
There you go again.
Hold it, bro. By standard of Americans. And let me also say, one of the instruments for measuring measuring progress in the world is what they call purchasing power parity. Today, what $1 can buy for you in America, it can buy in Nigeria. It is by our standard that we judge ourselves, not by the standard of Americans.
No, Femi,
when we judge ourselves by our standard, we can say, have we really made progress? We can say we have made progress. Today, I will say to you, if Nigeria was over 200 years, if Nigeria was over 200 years, I have been privileged. If Nigeria was over 200 years, I will say that we should have been saying what America holds, we should hold. The value America holds, we should hold. But today, Nigeria is 57, and America is something 200 and something years. If you are going to be comparing Nigeria with America, you have to be fair to say how old is America and how old is Nigeria. It is as good as Tosin comparing his own age.
Will 250 naira get to midpipe
20 years
in any of the Nigerian lotteries?
Okay, Tosin. You don't agree with that $1
I said to you,
in Nigeria.
How old is America?
Obviously I don't. Now you've led me.
What is purchasing power parity?
Look, now I'm going to kill it.
What is purchasing power parity?
I'm going to kill it now.
I said when you question
Mr. Tosin, let me answer. How old is America is irrelevant.
Why?
As far as I am concerned,
why is he relevant when you are discussing age?
Ask you.
Why is he relevant when you are discussing age?
How old is Hong Kong?
How can you discuss? You make comparison. You did not compare Nigeria with Hong Kong. You compare Nigeria with America.
Hong Kong is doing very well.
You compare Nigeria with America. That is why I'm responding to you. You compare Nigeria with America.
I'm now mentioning Hong Kong. I'm not going to derogate you by using those analogies you are using. Force me,
hold on. When Nigeria gained their independence in the year 1960, some other countries like Ghana and of course other countries in the region gained independence within that period.
Yes.
Now, compare Nigeria to this country.
I've just mentioned
Hong Kong.
That is what I've
just said.
I've just mentioned Hong Kong.
I don't know.
Now, if I'm forced to go back to that American and the British example, in those days of yore, Y-O-R-E, in those days, it could take them that long to get whatever they want. But not now. This is a jet age.
Yes.
This is a contemporary age. And at the press of the button, you get what you want.
And let me
so why can't we, by analogy,
thank God,
hasten, we have been sleeping. No doubt, I admit the giant status of my country.
Thank you.
I'm proud to say I'm a Nigerian anyway. If I were to lie, my complexion would disagree with me. So I am black. I am Nigerian, I'm African.
Thank God you're a lawyer.
Let us learn to speak truth to power.
Thank God you're a lawyer. You know when a lawyer goes to court, sir, let me use this to explain.
You have to learn to speak truth to power.
Hold on, let me talk. When a lawyer goes to court, a lawyer, even when you say this man is an armed robber and this man is an armed robber, and this man was set free, it is not enough reason for you to set another man free. They are what they call facts of the case. The countries you have mentioned, sometimes when you compare, you want to ask what are the facts. Are they the same landmarks? Do they have the same complexities? Do they have the same population of people to tackle? What are the resources available to them and what is the resources available to you? When you make general statements about comparing age, and even when I still ask you questions about age, you say it's irrelevant, that means you're not making sense. You just compare Nigeria with America. I told you that America is older than Nigeria. You say it's irrelevant. Yet you are discussing the age of Nigeria. Does that make sense? Without taking cognizance of all these facts. Today, Singapore is making progress. Singapore also got its independence a while ago, but Lagos State is about 5 times more than Singapore. Would you use the same circumstances to judge the two nations? No. So you must take this fact into consideration. Thank God, as a lawyer, when you go to court, you have to bring this relevant fact to judge your case. Otherwise, you are not making any sense.
All right, a round of applause for our debaters. Well, at this point, break. Hold on, Tosin. There is more to come.
He went to law.
There is more to come.
I don't think he's a lawyer.
There is more to come. You're
And
not a
wait,
lawyer. There is more to come.
Before me.
There is more to come.
Before me.
Yeah.
And you won't allow me to give a
There is more to come. But at this point, Great Imo and Tosin Akande, there is more to come. After the break, our beautiful audience, of course, will ask questions. Tosin Akande and Great Imo will answer those questions.
Thank you very much.
You're still watching The Big Issue. Welcome back. Indeed, we are having an interesting time in the studio today, and it's question time. Our beautiful audience here are also itching to ask the debaters questions. Your question.
Well done, sir. You've done marvelously well. Well, my question goes to
Mr.
Great
Imo.
Imo. Yes. Following on what Mr. Akande has said, I feel Nigeria is still a country, not a nation. At least I expect a man at 57 to be matured and sensible. So don't you think there are still some things that needs to be put in place, such as road infrastructures, the security, and all that? We hear of ritualists everywhere, here and there. We hear of kidnappers here and there. Don't you think there are still some things that needs to be done to that? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, if you listen to my intro, my job here today is not to tell you that we are where we're supposed to be. I also say to you that you should look at it from the perspective of whether your cup is half empty or half full. We're a nation on a journey. We are making progress as much as we are burdened by these challenges we have, and our emotional reactions is to dismiss every of our achievements and talk down on ourselves and dismiss our future and the vision of our leaders. The issue is that we are making progress. In spite of these challenges, are they surmountable? They are. And I've just said, by mentioning some other countries that have made progress, some of the issues that help them to make progress, and some of the factors that are peculiar to us. And those are the things that we are facing today. But we are capable of making progress and moving even faster from where we are. These things you have mentioned are facts. I'm not here to deny them, but I'm here to say to you that judging from today we have Dangote. In 1960, we didn't have them. Today, we have... Sorry, sir. Today, we have the likes of P-Square. In the 80s, in the 60s, we used to listen to Michael Jackson. Today, we have some of these university professors abroad. In the 80s, we didn't have them. That's to say there are signs that we're making progress.
All right.
That we are going to make
All right,
progress.
Mr. Great Imo believes we're making progress. Now, your question.
My question. Before I ask my question, I will want to give one or two analogy.
Briefly.
Firstly, I want to pitch my tent with Great Imo. And Mr. Tosin has been talking so much on problem. With problem, we can't get anywhere. I think what we need to do now is to be able to come up with a plan. We've had the National Development Plan, the first, the second, the third, and the fourth, the fifth.
Okay, so what is your question?
My question is, I want Mr. Tosin to at least give us two things that you think is good in Nigeria. Because we've been talking about problem all along.
Mr. Tosin.
Yeah, that's my question.
You want two things that are good about Nigeria. Well, Nigeria itself is good. Okay. I mean, I don't know, because you look, jokes apart. I said before that I am a Nigerian. That I am a Nigerian does not mean I should swallow everything, hook, line, sinker. I'm hook, line, even the fish and the boat. I can't. We speak truth to power. The areas where you have not done well, we drum it into your ears. As a matter of fact, that is the concept and the essence of government. If you look at the Constitution, you will see Section 14, subsection 2 again, paragraph A. No, that's not even the one I'm going to. It says government through the sovereignty. That's a very serious issue. It says sovereignty belongs to we, the people. And government will only through the Constitution, not otherwise, only through that Constitution, exercise powers and authorities on behalf of we, the people. So if we, the people, have not played our role, the Nigerian government will never get it right. It takes two to tango.
Yeah. All right. Lady, your question. Careful.
My question goes to Great Imo.
Yes.
If you say Nigeria has come of age at 57, I'd like you to tell us the state of our hospitals, our schools, our roads, power supply, even water. Some places we get to buy, we get to beg for water, we get to look for water. And secondly, I would like you people to leave this platform without giving us solutions to all these issues. Please give us portable solutions that our leaders can get to listen to and apply to make Nigeria a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think you should answer that of solutions, because her question, one way or the other, is also tied to the other question.
And let me also say that she mentioned specific this areas of the economy, like you mentioned hospitals. I want to tell you that as far back in 1960, I didn't think we had up to 50 hospitals in Nigeria. Today, we have more than 1,000. As much as we have not met the needs of everybody, that's also evidence of growth. Do you know in 1946 how many universities we have in Nigeria? I don't think you know. Today we have over 500. That's evidence we are making progress. But we now talking about solution is where we need to be. We need to accelerate. Then by accelerating is that you also need to take cognizance of the fact that the military years have also drawn us back. But from where we are, and as a nation coming out of recession, what are some of the things we need to do? We need to, first and foremost, if I'm to be talking to government today, one of the things we have not done is that we have limited the capacity of Nigerians to produce. We need to capitalize our land. A man in Abia State should be able
to go to respond to.
Yes, a man in Abia State should be able to use his land also as what they call as bait to get funds. We need foreign direct investment. Without it, you can't grow at that global realm. Some of the economies you have mentioned, be them Dubai, be them Hong Kong, all of them, they require what they call foreign direct investment to grow. Right. So we need to now create frameworks that enables foreign direct investment into our economy in a very massive area. And we need to accelerate our education by having what we call 15 years Marshall Plan in education, so that from next year we can say that every child born in Nigeria will have this quality of education. And without that quality of education, it will be difficult for us to resist poverty, education, and all of that.
Quickly, she says, solution. We cannot live here without profiling.
I would not mince words. Solution: stop corruption. It is corruption that makes even local government chairmen who get funds and will not apply it. Solution number one: stop corruption. Solution number two: stop corruption. Solution number three: kill corruption.
All right. I want to say that is a good statement, but you should tell us how to stop corruption, because everybody sings the same song. Look, everybody sings the same song.
Tell me.
He said you should tell us how to stop corruption. Quickly, I'll let you answer that.
I have attempted.
Okay, he wants to answer that. He wants to tell us how. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
I want to be quoted on national television. For emphasis sake, I repeat, I'd like to be quoted on national television. I can't do anything about corruption if I'm not in government.
You think so?
That is not true.
There is not.
I challenge you on that. That is
cannot do. Okay, let me rephrase it.
Please.
Let me rephrase it.
I will do this. I will do this audience a favor. By tomorrow on my Facebook page, I will be reposting my 7-point agenda for solving corruption, and I don't need to be in government. I only need to pass
you asked him a question. Quickly.
Look, young men and women, don't get carried away by rhetorics. Now, I will answer you circumstantially. I will try as much as possible to speak as one with authority. Thank you. In 1993, when Abiola was contesting, he realized that he has money, he has power, he's got fame, the only thing he lacked was power. He said, you don't shave my head in my absence. And not only me, Gani realized when he went for elections in Ondo State, did he win? Falana realized when he went for elections in Ekiti State, did he win? Something even tells me that our people are inherently evil because we resist good people in power. I have come up publicly in 2011.
He's giving us story as a solution. How you say stop corruption? I've never done it.
You know, it's question time. It's question time. It's question time. I just gave you the grace to respond quickly, and then I go to the next question.
You know why?
That is what I said.
You know why?
Not the Abiola or
me. We are not on the same pedestal, except he tells me he has run for office.
Please, that is local
I ran for office
Tell me
in
how
2011.
to stop corruption. That is what
How do we stop corruption? How do we stop corruption?
I have told you, if I am not in government, there is no significant thing I can do.
Thank you very much. Next question. Next question. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is for Great Imo. But before I say anything, I would like to say, Great Imo, you know, coming to this kind of a debate with the cup being half full, I want to see it as a defeatist argument, you know. Considering the prospect and potentials that we have as a nation. You said that in your analysis, you said that there are no chevrons again, there are no shell again. I can tell you categorically from authority as a geologist that we have more than 160 active oil blocks in Nigeria, and 80% of those oil blocks are actually mined by the Western companies. We've not been able to even refine our own fuel. We still import fuel.
Okay,
at 857.
So what's your question?
Answer. My question is, if we want to talk about if we have come of age, we should look at it from the quality of life of our people. How is the quality? I mean, what's the quality of life of our people? How our medical, institutions, our education institutions, and what have you? The quality of life of our people.
Okay.
How we feel.
Thank you very much. I like your question. And I like where this debate is heading now. Towards the end, everybody is asking for solution. And let me tell you that the problem mentality is the biggest problem a society can have. In 1960, they were all we know. But today, you know Mobi, you know Connoy, you know Globalcom, you know all of those things. These are Nigerian brands. I'm only saying to you that these things have come. And now, let me answer, please. You are interjecting. Now, let me explain this to you. Do you know that as old as America is, with everything they have had, with new age, with the evolving, and as the world, the global community evolves, new problems arise. Are you getting me? The nations will not stop from solving problems. And that is why we're here. That is why you need to understand what they call the concept of nation building. It's like if you look at this structure and they say this is a building. Most people think that because it's a building, the windows will not have problem. Because it's a building, the doors will not have problem. The word building means that it is a continuum. You can never stop building. As long as it's subordination, you will always continue to have challenges. As the new challenges come, you evolve.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll go on a quick break at this point, and when we return, it will be time to wind down on the program. You're still watching The Big Issue. Welcome back. Well, gentlemen, indeed, you both agree that we've had an interesting debate here today. But Tosin Akonde, I would like you to go first. Your final word now as we wind down the program.
I'm afraid my final word is going to stand the head right on its tail. This topic has said, has Nigeria come of age? If I'm to go by the words of the late sage, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, I'll quickly quote. He said, but before you lump distinct and diverse national units together in one state, the consent of each of them is indispensable. In the case of the Nigerian dimension, that wasn't done. And so, Nigeria will, to me, appear like a stillborn.
Right.
So now when you're talking about a stillborn, that means, God forbid, a child that was born and then died. So there's no even issue of coming of age.
All right, Great Imo.
All right. Well, I'm in my last statement, I wouldn't want to be responding to all that. We're a nation, we're existing, and we're making progress. And in spite of our challenges, we have it today. The only thing I want to let Nigerians know is that where you see a problem, there's need for solution. And for every solution you provide, you are making business. It depends on the perspective you have about issue of the angles from which you are looking at it. If you look at our problems as from the perspective of finding solution to find a business, then you will make progress in spite of the challenges. But if you look at it from bemoaning the problem rather than solving the problem, then you will forever win because there will always be problems.
All right, a round of applause for them. All right, gentlemen, Tosin Akonde and Great Imo Jonathan. I would like you at this point to mend fences. Come on, shake hands.
There's no quarrel in the first place.
A round of applause for them, please. Well, thank you very much, our wonderful audience in the studio today, and thank you to viewers. That's all on the program today. It doesn't matter what you think, we all love our country, Nigeria. Keep watching. My name is Femi Akonde. Thank you.